guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency still going sideways. Another boring day in the weekends. We do know weekends can get a little bit crazy though, right? We did actually dip down all the way to the low $9,000 in yesterday's video. Bitcoin was actually pushing down as I was making the video. We have had a slight recovery, but the question is, was that enough for the Bitcoin bulls, or are we looking to retest some of those lower levels that we spoke about yesterday? Well, keep in mind we do have a golden cross coming up for Bitcoin with the 50 moving average about to move above the 100 and 200 moving averages. However, we do know that in the past, sometimes these indicators can be fake outs, and we'll often see big whales selling the news, dumping on the golden cross. Can we expect that this time? Well, there's actually one other chart that no one's looking at right now that we also put in a golden cross. I want to show you that chart as well. Also, the fact that the overall total hash rate for Bitcoin since the halving has actually plummeted 30%. We were going up towards all-time highs and we had a major dump. So this is not good for the security of the Bitcoin network. What does this mean? Miners are shutting off their equipment. They're capitulating. So we need to talk about that because actually there's one prominent analyst who actually thinks this could be good for Bitcoin. I know, crazy. We're going to get into why this dump in hash rate could actually be beneficial. It's a really weird theory, but you're going to want to stick around for that. Also, guys, congratulations. J.K. Rowling finally bought some Bitcoin. No, she didn't. This is actually just a fake tweet by Not Loom Dart. However, J.K. Rowling was making some drunk tweets over the weekend, and she did have an opportunity to talk to some Bitcoiners about Bitcoin. And Elon Musk actually had an opportunity to chime in as well. And one thing as well, we do have the House passing a $3 trillion relief package. Will it go through? What does it mean for you? And, well, does that mean that the money printer is about to go burr again? Well, we're going to talk about all that today. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. Also, if you want to enter to win a Ledger Nano S, drop a comment on literally any video and we give one away every single Monday. Without further ado, let's dive in. All right, so having a look at this chart right here, you will notice that we do have a CME futures gap potential if Bitcoin falls out of this range. So as long as Bitcoin can stay above the $9,170 level, we should be all right. If we fall below that, we may look for a pump to the top, or, vice versa. We may look for a pump to the bottom, or a dump to the bottom. But we do have Luke Martin saying the decoupling is underway. Stocks selling off back below where they started in May. Bitcoin bounce continues with a slow and steady rise. Now, I know what you're saying. Here's the S&P 500. Here's Bitcoin. S&P 500, Bitcoin, right? Does look very similar. They both had that sort of V-shaped recovery. However, if you actually have a look at the stocks are actually starting to have a bit of a curve right here. You can see they're actually starting to look like they want to go the other way, whereas actually Bitcoin is still going directly up. I mean, yes, we could have a little bit of a pullback down to this level right here. And, obviously if Bitcoin was to pull back, we could see sort of an $8,800 Bitcoin potentially. If we were to fall below that, should we get worried? Well, ultimately, guys, right here, you do see where Bitcoin had a lot of major support flipped resistance. So I could still see Bitcoin coming down even to the 7.2K level, still technically being bullish, still technically putting in higher lows, right? Having a look right here, though, we do know that we are below the heart line and we are getting to the end of this apex, which I think is going to happen before June 3rd. Could be boring. We could just kind of bounce around in this area a little bit more until then, but I definitely think we're looking for a massive move. Whether to the upside or to the downside, you let me know what you think for Bitcoin coming up basically by the beginning of next month. You can see right here, we are still unfortunately being held down by this resistance that's been holding us down since we pumped right here back in, July of last year. So we do need to break above that on the weekly chart specifically to be bullish for Bitcoin. At the same point, we have had very similar charts down here as we are having right here. So, 7 green candles plus a red candle into a green week. Well, maybe Bitcoin could have another rally like we did previously. And once again, here's just another example of Bitcoin being held down. But we did speak about this descending broadening wedge where if we do have a breakout to the upside here, you are talking about a target of $15,500 for Bitcoin if we break out to the upside. And I do just want to have a look at the golden cross right here. you can see we are looking to basically have this move. Now, I'm going to be honest, the yellow line, which is the 50 moving above the other ones, isn't as necessarily significant as a higher average. Let's say like the 100 moving above the 200. So let me actually get rid of this right now. And I just want to simplify it so we could basically just look at these two. And you can see right here, when the 100 moved above the 200, Bitcoin had a massive rally. And also right here, you could see Bitcoin had a massive dump. So that was actually a pretty good indicator. Right? Now, if we switch over to the 50, however, you will notice that it's a little bit different. So having a look at the 50, we did have potentially some fake outs, where as you can see, we were having a bearish or a death cross here, and Bitcoin actually had a massive pump. And right here, where we actually put in a bull cross, right, or a golden cross, Bitcoin actually had a dump. So be very careful with these. These are lagging indicators, and oftentimes smart money whales will counter trade on what people are anticipating. So I'm not saying we can't have a massive blast off. Just keep in mind, lots of people see that this is going to happen. Smart money might try to counter trade. That's all I'm saying, guys. But one thing I wanted to point out is we did have a golden cross. You can see Crypto Noctum pointed over here on the Bitcoin dominance. So what does that mean? Well, maybe not necessarily the fact that Bitcoin's price is going to moon, but it could mean that you would want to be in Bitcoin as opposed to altcoins moving forward, okay? So that's just one possibility. It is one theory, but J.K. Rowling did not buy Bitcoin. This is a fake tweet. Lots of people retweeting this. They think this is real, but let's be honest. She did actually reach out. Let's talk about how this got started, and let's talk about the implications of it. And also, it was kind of unfortunate to see some of the, crypto community almost attack J.K. Rowling over not knowing about Bitcoin, but I'll get into that in just a bit. Essentially, you could see that Lei Kewen over here, she said the most bullish signal I've seen all week is a mainstream novelist who I won't mention, basically asked about Bitcoin. So somebody down here goes, J.K. Rowling is my favorite. She says, oh, if she ever pings me, I'll die. And J.K. Rowling actually responded and said, I don't understand Bitcoin. Please explain it to me. Well, you know the crypto community could not give up on this offer. Unfortunately, some of these comments, like Bitcoin is designed so that it eliminates the need for trust. It's backed by advanced math. You wouldn't understand. She says that, so that sold me. So she says it started as a joke, but she's afraid she'll never begin to log into Twitter without seeing somebody angry that she doesn't own Bitcoin. One day you'll see a wizened old woman in the street trying to trade a Harry Potter book for a potato. Be kind, she did try to understand. Now, interestingly enough, you could see Elon Musk actually chimed in. So J.K. Rowling, she was getting a little frustrated. She said, people are now explaining Bitcoin to me, and honestly, it's blah, 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 my collectibles, My Little Pony, blah, 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 computers, got one of those, blah, 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 crypto. Sounds creepy, blah, 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 understand the risk. I don't, though. By the way, if you think that she might have been having a little bit of a Friday night drink, she was, which we'll get into, but Elon Musk says pretty much, although massive currency issuance by government central banks is making Bitcoin internet money look solid by comparison, and he does say, I still only own a quarter of a Bitcoin, right? But I think the best explainer video out there was definitely the one from Girl Gone Crypto. She related it to the Harry Potter world, and I definitely want to just play this clip for you super quick. If you have anyone out there that loves Harry Potter and they're interested in getting into crypto, you have to watch this video. I'm going to play it, and then we're going to keep talking about this.
Okay, Rowling, today you tweeted asking someone to help explain Bitcoin. So I present to you the Muggle's Guide to Bitcoin. The Fed, which we will affectionately refer to in this video as Voldemort, is out of control with printing money and putting us deeper and deeper in debt, which causes inflation, economic downturn, and ultimately is devaluing the price of our currency. A good way to think about it is think about when you were a kid and how much a butterbeer or your wand from Ollivanders cost, and then now think of how much more that costs. But what can us mere muggles do about it? We don't have any control over the Fed, or he who shall not be named. Well, what if that wasn't the only type of money? What if there were currencies that were deflationary, that actually were the opposite of what we currently have and got more valuable over time instead of less? So where did these deflationary currencies or stores of value come from? Well, even in the world of Harry Potter, there are gold coins or galleons, and they inherently will become more valuable over time because there's only a limited supply. And similar to gold, Bitcoin will only have 21 million ever created. So in a similar sense to the galleons, it should increase in value over time based on a limited fixed supply. But carrying around gold isn't exactly convenient in the modern age. It's not only heavy, but what if you're out shopping in Diagon Alley and you take a wrong turn down Nocturne Alley and you run into some shady figures that like to help that gold come right out of your pocket? Having a digital option, aka Bitcoin, just makes sense. But how do you know that it's really secure? It's based on math and code and is built on a little thing we call blockchain technology. Now you can think of blockchain almost like Gringotts, where you've got your piles of gold coins, aka your store of value, hidden in vaults protected by a dragon. Except blockchain is even more secure because instead of being guarded by a dragon, it's guarded by math and code. And Voldemort can never touch it.
Absolutely love that video. Shout out to Girl Gone Crypto. But getting back to JK Rowling, you could see, I know you mean to help, but full disclosure, I'm only allowing myself alcohol at weekends during this lockdown, and I'm on my fourth very strong old fashioned. And honestly, you might as well send me a scroll written in Sanskrit, but she did post this picture where you could see the evolution of money, shells and gold, scarce, gold coins and notes, scarce, ease of use, trusted third parties, bank accounts, credit cards, and the final wave being Bitcoin, scarce, ease of use, P2P, plus math. So, was it a win for the crypto community? Maybe it was a draw, but I do think it garnished a lot of attention. So that is good mentioning going forward. But what is going on with this hash rate? We have hash rate average dropping on the 7-day. If we go to the raw values right here, you can see this massive plummet from the top. So why is hash rate falling 30%? Well, we did just have the Bitcoin halving event, and we do know that when Bitcoin has its halving event, unfortunately, it becomes unprofitable for some of the miners that are using older ASICs or simply can't keep up with the cost of production, and unfortunately, they do need to shut down their rigs. So why is this a good thing? So basically, according to Matt D'Souza, co-founder of Blockware Solutions, this is what he says. So miners who run older equipment have obviously higher electrical costs. They may be forced to at least temporarily shut down their operations. Some may rejoin the network once there is a downward difficulty adjustment, which Bitcoin does adjust. That's one of the beautiful things about Bitcoin. So they say this will benefit the remaining miners who will be mining more Bitcoin per given hash power output. It should also have a positive effect on the market. And I've seen a lot of people asking me about this saying, no, K-Dub, this is very, very bad for the market. Well, Matt D'Souza goes on to say, so you could see potentially 25-35% of the network shut off, and now 25 to 35% of the Bitcoin they were receiving, it now goes to whoever survives. So whoever survives is going to do very well. They're going to accumulate a ton of Bitcoin, and therefore they don't have to sell as much Bitcoin to pay their electricity bills to buy more machines. More Bitcoin will start getting accumulated by very strong hands, very experienced miners, very efficient miners, rather than being sold to cover expenses. So what do you think about that? So these guys, he's essentially saying all the guys that needed to sell the Bitcoin because they couldn't afford to pay for their expenses, they're out of the game. And now the guys who are profitable, who are basically able to mine Bitcoin no problem, there's going to be less selling pressure from the remaining miners. Interesting theory. Let me know. Some of you might disagree with this, but it does kind of make sense, right? I mean, we do just straight up have the fact that there is less Bitcoin coming out, right? We had 1,800 Bitcoin a day. Now we only have 900. So that alone does decrease the selling pressure, but that was a very interesting theory. One other thing also that Matt D'Souza says in response to the Bitcoin halving is essentially that he says patience is the key to capitalize on this halving. He actually talks about back in 2016, Bitcoin rallied 67% into the halving. It corrected 33% and bottomed within 3 weeks, only to begin a 17-month bull market. Now, fast forward, in 2020, we didn't really have a massive rally into the halving. Yeah, we had a little bit of a pump sort of at the very end, but I kind of think that was the V-shaped recovery after the massive scare from the virus, right? When everything was dumping and all the stocks in that. He says the fundamentals for Bitcoin have never been better. Halvings are typically buy the rumor, sell the news events, right? So in 2020, he says, I expect a shallower sell-off than 2016. We already corrected 20% and only a 1.5 to 3 week 3-week duration max. Now is the time to be patient and not day trade. He says the big money is in sitting and capturing the cycle, and I couldn't agree more. In fact, dollar cost averaging is hands down the best strategy. Yes, you can try to trade Bitcoin, but the reality is most day traders are not successful. Most do lose on their trades. Okay, a lot of people trade with emotion, but if you actually come over here and you just go over to, for example, dollar cost average Bitcoin, it's DCA, You can literally put in, let's say you were dollar cost averaging, I don't know, let's say $100 weekly, and you started accumulating 3 years ago, you'd be up 66%, and you now have $26,100 with a $15,700 investment. Now listen, I know what you're saying, only 66%, I want a 10x, 20x. Guys, in the real world, most people are happy if they can walk away with a 25%, 5% alone, improvement on their capital, right, in investment. So just keep in mind that Bitcoin has still been the best performing asset pretty much of all time. So yeah, DCA all the way, guys. And finally, I want to end on the fact that we have the House passing a historic $3 trillion virus relief package on Friday night, which was yesterday, a bill that would put more money directly into Americans' pockets. So this is all good and dandy, right? We're all going to get another check. Well, unfortunately, it does seem that 14 Democrats have voted down the bill so far, many of them claiming that the measures didn't go far enough to provide relief to millions of Americans who are struggling currently right now. But if you're curious what it would entail, the proposed legislation includes a second round of direct cash payments to Americans. Some people have been saying it was going to be like $6,000 a household. Well, they essentially say $1 trillion in aid for local, state, and tribal governments, assistance for essential frontline workers, and extension of unemployment benefits, and various other democratic measures. The proposal, if it clears both chambers, would become the largest, most expensive spending package in U.S. history, surpassing the already passed $2.2 trillion that was passed by Congress back in March. So more reasons to buy Bitcoin. Nothing on this channel is financial advice, but hey, you let me know what you think about that in the description. I would prefer to put my potential holdings into a hard asset that isn't constantly being inflated on a daily basis, but that's just my opinion, guys. I'm just a crazy guy on the internet. Don't listen to anything I say. And also, guys, don't forget that the Ledger Nano S 50% off discount. Use the code We Are the Bull Run. That's actually ending, I believe, tomorrow or by the end of this week. So Sunday, if you're watching, Sunday's the last day. If you are interested, I do have links below in the description. You don't have to use them. They do help support the channel. I do appreciate it, but that is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much again for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. Be safe out there. It is the weekend. Things could get a little bit rocky. We could retest some of these lower levels. Long term, absolutely bullish. Short term, things could get a little bit shaky. Be safe. Dollar cost average. I love you guys. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.